Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Brooke and I am a realtor in the Twin Cities area. Today I'm going to be telling you everything you need to know before buying your first house. We're going to go from beginning to end. Starting off with, are you even ready? Does it make sense for you to buy right now? The three biggest things you're going to need is stable employment, a little bit of money in your savings account, and credit score. You don't necessarily have to have the greatest credit. It depends on what kind of loan you're gonna apply for. Next step would be to find a realtor. Typically, this is someone that you know, like, and trust. Your realtor's number one goal should be to keep you educated throughout the entire process. They should be direct and honest with you about every house you go to see. And you should not go straight to the listing agent, and this is why. The listing agent is always going to have the seller's best interest in mind and is going to do whatever possible to sell that house and get the most money for their clients. So if you go straight to them, they're going to be super salesy and not very helpful about the process, versus if you were to use a buyer's agent or someone working on your behalf. They should be super helpful in fighting and negotiating on your behalf versus the seller's behalf. All right, the next step in the process is going to be to get pre-approved. So you're going to need to find a good mortgage lender. If you don't know any, I'm sure your realtor will know plenty. And this is just, again, going to be someone that you really trust. The three biggest things you want to look for when finding a lender is communication, someone that gets back to your texts and calls in a timely manner. The second is education, someone that's going to help you with your whole financial situation, educate you on how much you have, how much you're able to have, how much you're able to put down, all this stuff. And third is who's going to offer you the best type of loan. There's hundreds of loan types out there. Everyone has access to different things, and it just depends on what you're looking for. It's always smart to shop around for a lender, get a few different opinions. Just make sure you do this within a timely manner, because every time they pull your credit, it might hurt your credit score if you don't do it within a certain time frame. Moving on to the next step, which is starting your home search, and this is the most exciting in my opinion. So what you're going to do is you're going to need a whole list of your needs and a whole list of your wants, and figure out where you want this house to be, how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms. You start looking for houses that fit your criteria, and your realtor should set you up on an MLS search or even an off-market search if they have access to something like that. Personally, I'm constantly networking. We have an online off-market platform. I'm also networking, asking around, trying to find off-market deals for my clients. These two steps kind of go hand in hand, but next you're going to go start seeing the properties that you're picking out. So your realtor is going to take you to go see them. Your realtor should be picking out all the good, the bad, and the ugly. They want to warn you before you get into anything bad. So as my clients walk through the house, imagining themselves living there, imagining their own furniture in the space, I go through, I do things like I test the water pressure, I look for water marks on the ceiling that could potentially mean there has been water damage, things like that. I look at how old the furnace is, the water heater, so that if they decide it's the house for them, they know some of the details, some of the stuff they're getting into. Before I take my clients to go see houses, I do a little research and I figure out what their monthly payment is going to be, so that when they're walking through, they know roughly how much it's going to cost them each month. This really helps my clients compare properties, because as we're walking through, I'm going to say, hey, this house is $50 more a month. Do you think it's worth it, or did you think that last house we saw was better? Once you find the house, the next step is going to be submitting an offer. Now, this is where having a good agent comes in handy, because they're going to use all their little tips and tricks to write up the best offer possible. And this is important because multiple offers do happen, especially in this market right now. And I always do my best to make sure my clients' offers look way better than everyone else's. If you ever hear the term highest and best, that means a property already has multiple offers, and if they're calling highest and best by Sunday, You give them your highest and best offer, and they're going to choose which one they like out of all of the offers they have received. So your agent will typically write it up, send it to you virtually if that's what you prefer, and then that's where you sign it and it gets submitted to the listing agent. Then your offer can either be accepted, countered, or rejected. Obviously, we're always aiming for an accepted offer, and when that happens, the offer becomes a roadmap for the rest of the transaction. Occasionally, they'll counter, and then that's where your realtor comes into play and starts negotiating on your behalf. The earnest money has to be submitted within 48 hours of an accepted offer. Earnest money is a credit towards your down payment, and it's like a promise to the sellers. The higher the earnest money, the more attractive your offer looks. It's typically 1 to 2% of the sale price of the home. It gets held in an escrow account, and then if the deal falls through during the inspection or the appraisal period, then that earnest money will go back into your account. If it fell through after the written statement, which means like the mortgage and financing have been secured and you're ready to close, if you just back out and decide you're not ready to buy the house, then it's unfortunately too late and your earnest money is going to go to the sellers. But if the deal does not fall through, then that money just goes straight towards your down payment, so you have to bring that much less to closing day. If you opted in for the inspection on your offer, then this is the time where you schedule that immediately. If you are a first-time home buyer, I highly recommend going to the inspection. This is because the inspector can teach you a little bit about the basics of all like the little mechanisms in your home. Things that you never had to deal with renting and you probably won't understand. They'll just teach you, show you how to do whatever you need to do to keep the home in working order. There's typically a bunch of small little repairs or things that the inspector will point out. And if you go to the inspection, your inspector is able to like explain to you if it's a huge deal or if it's just a small little fix that you don't really have to worry about. If there is any huge major repairs that need to be done to the house, then this is the time where you negotiate with the seller again, whether it's having them repair it before closing day or them dropping the price so that you have the funds to repair the property after closing. The next step will be the appraisal, and this is usually ordered by your lender, and they're just going to come and make sure that you're not overpaying for a house. And this is because in the worst case scenario where you can't pay your mortgage and you get foreclosed upon, the lender wants to make sure they can turn around and sell your house for the same amount of money. An appraisal is just making sure that you're paying market value and not overpaying for a house. Typically, the inspection and the appraisal are going to cost around $500 each, and that comes out of the buyer's pocket. Those are typically the only two expenses you have to pay prior to closing day. So they are not included with your closing costs. While all this is going on, you're going to have a title search to make sure the title is free and clear. This is going to stop anyone from coming up and knocking on your door one day and being like, hey, I own part of this house. You just want to make sure you have complete ownership of the property you are about to buy. During this time, you would also typically set up your homeowner's insurance, so that's ready to go on closing day. After all that is set in stone, you're gonna get closer and closer to closing day, and your title company is gonna ask you to wire the funds over for all the costs, fees, taxes, everything, your down payment, your closing costs. And once you get everything set and ready to go for closing day, all you have to do is the final walkthrough, and this is just you go through the house one last time with your realtor to make sure the sellers didn't destroy the house, make sure there wasn't any holes in the wall that they were hiding with furniture, make sure they didn't take their fridge after they said they were leaving it. Basically, you're just kind of making sure it's what you expected it to look like and that there's no surprises after you close and you have complete ownership of the house. Then it is officially closing day. So when you come up to the closing table, be ready. It's going to take about an hour and you're going to have to sign a lot of papers. So maybe do your wrist exercises first, and you're going to need to bring a valid ID, bring a checkbook just in case someone did the numbers wrong. It could be a couple pennies off, it could be $50 off, whatever it is. They can't accept cash or card. You need a check just in case something went wrong. You would hate to not close on your house that day over a couple dollars. As soon as you leave that table, you get handed the keys to your new house and you are officially a homeowner. It's so exciting. I just love getting to experience that with all of my clients, and hopefully one day you can experience that too. So yes, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you learned something. If you have any questions, let me know. Reach out to me. I'm here for you. Thank you. Bye.